الجهاد الكبير, the starting points. Then الجهاد الصغير is gonna, and you go out into the world without knowing thyself, you're gonna become just like the world. You're gonna become corrupted. You're gonna follow into the ways of how society in the matrix, if you will, is constructed to really devoid one's true virtue in essence, in true gift of spirituality, of self and knowing thyself, of championing thyself based upon the virtues of God's message. This is why Satan rules the world, in a sense, you know. Satan, what is Satan? I don't mean just like some being that is down in the core of the earth and there's fire. That's an imagery. I believe, like Tupac said, you know, I believe there's hell on earth and heaven on earth, you know. Check out Tupac, him saying that. He goes more in depth on that. But we become easily corruptible when we bypass knowing thyself, you know. And that's exactly what's happened with a lot of these Muslims. ISIS. These kids are lost, man. These kids are like the disenfranchised in America, the disenfranchised youths in Latin America, where there's, you know, drugs, and there's a lot of racism, prejudice as well in a lot of these societies. In France, I know there's lots of racism against blacks, not to mention Muslims as well. There's prejudice against Muslims. So imagine if you're black and you're Muslim. And a lot of, in fact, I think a lot of black Muslims, you know, black Muslims are prevalent in France, you know. Among other places as well. But you see how society constructs. Damn, yo. I mean, it's deep. So I hope, you know, I didn't come full circle with that, but I hope you get the point of what I'm trying to say. This goes deeper. It goes deeper another level. But it slipped my mind because I fucking went on a little tangent regarding the black Muslims in France. You know, when you know, it's the spoils of society, you know. Oh man, giving y'all game, man. It's the spoils of society. When you put people in a ghetto, that environment, that crappy environment, is what makes people ill within themselves, you know. And in turn, they're willing to commit crime and go against their morals and conscience, all for the sake of being able to survive, you know. That's where you hear it's hard out here, man. People trying to eat. People are trying to make money so they can eat, you know. Not to mention so they can enjoy life. Now the faultiness of that is that, you know, a lot of times these people spend money on translucent things like Jordans and designer clothes and diamonds and entertainment things. And that in itself, you know, takes away more so, I mean, that kind of, you know, it's all about spiritual highness and beingness. And I'm guilty of it 110% as well, you know. But it's important to be aware, you know. It's important to always have a framework from which you can honestly look at yourself in the mirror, you know. And not allow yourself to be defined by the world. You know, to not allow others to define your value based upon what you have. It's important to define yourself for who you are, you know. So that's Hollow Dreams, you know. Hollow Dreams is this, essentially. Hollow Dreams is the mastering of the self as well, you know. To know thyself, that's important. So again, epitome perennial, the omega, it's the light, it's the yang, it's the birth of yang within the yin, if that makes sense. Because you see in the yin and yang, it's the white, but you see the black dot, and then it's the black and you see the white dot. Within the light, there's always a speck of darkness that potentially can come out and take over and flip it to the side of yin, which is darkness, if I'm not mistaken. And within the darkness as well, there's always that dot, that small little tincture of whiteness, of hope. You know, the yin and yang, white and black. The black within the white, and the white dot within the black as well. And you know, unfortunately, this has been taken into consideration as a literal figure of speech, as in racism. You know, I think part of racism, part of the caste system in India as well, comes down to the complexion of race, the complexion of skin. The lighter your skin color, the more you're deemed valuable to, I don't know, Satan. You know, that's where a lot of racism stems from, unfortunately. Islam says this is incorrect. We have made you tribes and nations equal amongst each other, so that ye may come to know one another, so that you may come and learn from one another, you know. And we all know it. I mean, the blacks have great things in their culture, in themselves, you know. Not only are they physically, naturally strong, but they're also spiritually strong, very spiritually strong. You see it. I think it's the African culture, in one of the cultures, maybe in a few of them. The funerals are actually celebrations of life, of what the life, of a life that just was, you know. I mean, I haven't really found that in any other tradition. Maybe in the Mayan tradition, I don't know. I don't think so. And you know, we know the Jews, very great teamwork, you know. They stick to each other. They're very smart. You know, very smart. But they're smart to a fault, unfortunately. They end up shooting themselves in the foot with their arrogance. But anyway, I don't want to bash nobody. So the Jews, very smart, etc. The blacks too, you know, they have their shortcomings. They're killing each other, you know, I mean. They're very ego-driven as well, as are the Russians and a lot of these other third world countries. The Arabs, ego-driven, quite emotional as well. But the Arabs themselves, very rich in heritage, rich in culture, rich in hospitality, rich in knowledge as well. You know, algebra, that's an Arabic word. Algebra, I don't know if it's jebra is the actual word from which it stems, but it became, but algebra, al is an Arabic prefix toward, you know, the word, I don't know what the Arabic word is per se, but the English words of the Arabic word is Jebra, so algebra, they pretty much made it, I think. You can look it up, but my point is that it's, you know, it's an Arabic word, it stems from Arabic. Also cosmology, very rich, was very rich back then in, you know, the Arabic culture, etc., etc. And of course you can go down to the Latinos, you can go to the Australians, you know, so this is my point, we can all learn from each other. Alhamdulillah, you know, but unfortunately race is, you know, it's become mere appearances that we define each other, you know, which is unfortunate. But also to the point of what Kanye West once said, you know, it's become classism as well, you know, classism. So you can be whatever, Hispanic, black, whatever. And there's gonna be, you know, if you're rich, people will respect you. You know, people respect wealth. And it's true, you know, it's a true thing. And that's why I'm not a man of wealth, but I'm a man of character. I'm a man of knowing thyself. And like I said, I'm backbone by principles and morals and conscience, you know. And I maintain that by correcting my wrongs, because I'm not perfect. and I don't claim to be perfect. But alhamdulillah, I've been wise enough to know not to do certain things, But when I have done bad things, I've always reconciled, tried to reconcile, whether it is apologizing to somebody for my mistake, for my shortcomings in treating them ill, or in, taking note upon myself, and ensuring that the best way for me to really reach a life of richness, both spiritually and materialistically, is to follow the path of righteousness, the straight path, to not astray. And of course, we touched upon society, Jihad al-Kabir versus Jihad al-Sagir, and how society, can really conflux one into really turning into, succumbing to the wiles of, of falsity and sin, if you will. Alright, so, man, there was another point I wanted to spit across in that tangent as well, but I forgot what it was, man. Oh, man. Oh. Alright. So that's Epitome Perennial and Hollow Dreams. It really shouldn't have taken me an hour and 20 minutes, but I did go on some tangents. So what is energy and rhythm? So again, Epitome Perennial, that's the Omega, the light, the yang. It's reaching towards utopia. It's good, defined, and to be met. Because a lot of these leaders, they didn't meet their visions, Gandhi didn't see the day, neither did MLK, nor JFK, nor Marcus Garvey. Did they fail in life, or was their life succeeded by what later prevailed? That's one of my rhymes. I kind of messed up the rhyme right there. But you get the point. So it's Epitome Perennial is goodness defined, to be met. It's the jihad is in seek of such, It's Jihad al-Kabir. Jihad al-Sagir, which has been defined by the media as Jihad al-Kabir. The true jihad in Islam is to seek towards this goodness. The media has made it as if jihad means to go towards such evility and destruction against people who are other than Islam. Granted, in Islam it says that you are to respect people of other traditions and faiths. You do not define a person by their tradition and faith. You define people by their actions, And I think Malcolm X even said this in his speeches when he became a Muslim, after he became a Muslim. And, to the point of the Nation of Islam, they preach this as well, I think. Define a man not by the way he looks, but by his actions, And the media has twisted this in a very bad way, and it's really given Islam a bad message. That's unacceptable, man. That's wrong, And that's... Ask yourself why this has happened. Why does the media portray Islam like... It's not from ignorance, because there are many scholars who are out there who know the true message of Islam. They never bring them up into Fox News headquarters to interview them, And they keep pushing the wrong message, And it's not a message of wanting understanding of why are these people hating us so much, Why doesn't the American ask himself critically, why do these people... Is it really for our freedoms? Well, how come... Are the Latinos really... But that's also to the point of Saudi Arabia and Wahhabism and the corruption of Islam, and how Islam has really been utilized in such a bad way. In Saudi Arabia and in a lot of these other nations, It's ironic. In true nature, it's ironic. Because the true blessing of something can also be, the greatness of something, how great something really is. On the flip side, is also a projection of how evil something can be, Like, if you're just average, you can't be too good and you can't be too bad. But if you're great, you have the ability to almost become extremely horrible as well, if that makes sense, in a spiritual sense. This comes to like spirituality, you know. This is like, if you're able to reach, like, I don't know how to define it really. It's like the smartest motherfuckers can use their smarts to really become really great people to help others out, or they can use their smarts to really become, to really outsmart the rest of the people, and to really to do bad things and to get in power. And I think the world, unfortunately, has a lot of smart people who reach positions of power, but in fact they're selfish. They have a lack of trust in wanting to give to others because they know it probably won't be reciprocated back. And they don't feel like doing favors for others without getting much benefit from it, materialistically speaking, because true spirituality knows that you give and you get much spiritual benefit. But again, these people play the game. Society's construct is sort of based upon this game. Did they know thyself to begin with? They did, but I think they did. You know, to reach a certain stature in society, you have to know thyself. You know, Hitler knew thyself. Mussolini knew thyself. In the same way, Jesus knew thyself. In the same way, Gandhi knew thyself. And these are two polar extreme opposites, you see. And they both know thyself, but one knew thyself and went this way, and the other one knew thyself and went this way. Okay, so that's epitome perennial. Good defined to be met. Jihad in seek of. In seek of goodness, you know. Jihad al-Kabir, once accomplished through Jihad al-Sagir, which is hollow dreams. Hollow dreams is the alpha, the dark, the yin. It's the alpha in roots utopia. So it's the alpha in roots the omega. It's the bad in roots good. Now this brings us to a great segue into Charles Manson. These folks. The bad in roots good. You know, a lot of times society can really make one feel hopeless, you know. And I touch upon this in my Hollow Dreams essay of how the eclectic is treated by the rest of the society. The homeless person, some of them, I think a lot of them are eclectic, who deem to have, you know, bad mental, who are, you know, a bit left of center, if you will. You know, they're odd people. They speak to themselves maybe in this. Unless they see what accompanies such persons speaking to themselves, unless they see a byproduct parallel with the person's madness, people, we don't know how to define people, you know. It's easy to just cast somebody to the side. I guarantee you Van Gogh would have gotten a lot more respect for who he was if people knew how prized of a possession his creations were at that time. Later defined as what they would become, you know, because now they're worth fucking millions of dollars, man, these paintings. Beautiful shit, man, you know. Amazing. Such lush colors, you know. I love art, you know. My parents used to take me to museums and I used to go, it was whatever, but man, art, man, museums, it brings something great to me, you know. Just a sense of wonderment and a sense of inspiration and a sense of my knowing thyself, you know. That's why I love Washington, D.C., yo. Washington, D.C. is a great city. Not only is it the capital's empire, haha, but it's an emerald city, you know? Very emerald city. It's a treasure of a city in a certain respect. I don't know. I can't define it. It's hard to define, but not to mention, I mean, the structures there, the buildings are so powerfully constructed, you know, the architecture. But also the museums are all for free, which is dope, man. That's awesome. And you see, you know, the monuments, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, shout out to Charlottesville. You see the Martin Luther King Memorial now, which has some great quotes as spoken by Mr. King himself, included in the memorial, engraved in the memorial sites. I mean, it's dope, you know. The Kennedy Center, damn, I hope someday I can, you know, perform at the Kennedy Center. The Kennedy Center now is recognizing hip-hop, you know. That's amazing, you know. That's amazing. The world is now starting to hearken hip-hop, man. Woo! Man, it's such a blessing, yo, hip-hop. I love hip-hop, you know. I love, you know, what I like most about the blacks and the black culture is that, and I wrote it in my rhyme too, they're unwilling to settle, you know. With my parents and the white middle class and this and that, just middle class in general, to even take race out of it. Because Arabs too are kind of like blacks. They're very, you know, aspirational and very, you know, they want to live life fully, you know. It teaches you to settle, you know. We all know it. What is society's protocol? Go to school, graduate, go to college, graduate, get a job, get married, have kids, get a job for, you know, 40, 50 years, get married amidst those years, have kids amidst those years, retire, enjoy life, then die. You know? Man, it's such a brilliant scam, yo. But anyways, and I'm not saying the job is bad, but you know, for me to work doing something for 10, 20, 30 years that I don't enjoy, I can't, yo, I can't. I commit suicide before I do that shit. Or I commit some fucking act of, you know, that's where resentment comes into play. This is important. This is where fucking perfect. I'm glad I came to this end. This is where Hollow Dreams comes into play. This is where the outro to Hollow Dreams comes into play. This is what you must protect yourself against. Such ruts. To allow such ruts to continue is a dangerous thing. This is why the intro to Hollow Dreams is Surat al-Falaq. Surat al-Falaq is a protection against such evils to come into your life, to lead you towards resentment, to make you astray from Jihad al-Kabir and act from a space of ability out into the world, which is Jihad al-Sagir. You understand? The outro, Charles Manson. Very important. Listen to Silver Lining, my outro for Hollow Dreams. Listen to the way, listen to what Manson speaks. This man is speaking truth. This man is speaking profound insights. Hollow Dreams, it's a reflection of society. It's a reflection of society as society defines the individual. To survive in society, you must conform to a certain extent. Many people conform to a large extent. Resentment. Charles Manson. Now with this information that I've given you, listen to Silver Lining again. You will understand where he's coming from. Empathy is very important. Empathy. Wow. Empathy. That's one of the most important, I don't even know what it is. Empathy. Is that a virtue? I think it's a virtue, maybe a principle. I have no idea. An ethic. Whatever it is, however it's defined. We must have empathy towards people so we can better understand ourselves, pretty much. Check out a professor at the University of Iowa. I believe his name is Richardson. Professor Richardson, I believe. He speaks on empathy in a TEDx talk. It's on my Hollow Dreams site, in fact. Go to hollowdreams.com or go to ratmillionaire.com. Scroll down to my biography. Saloon released Epitome Perennial followed by Hollow Dreams in 2014. Click on followed by Hollow Dreams in 2014. It's a hyperlink. It'll take you to the website. Scroll down to my Hollow Dreams website. Scroll down in the Hollow Dreams website and pay heed. I think it's Mr. Richardson's. There's another guy who speaks on empathy as well. He's an African American. I forgot his name too. He's actually included on my Hollow Dreams website, not Mr. Richardson. But if you go to my reviews section, either at ratmillionaire.com or hollowdreams.com, click on the reviews tab. You'll see Professor Richardson. I took a snip tool shot, a snapshot of him, in fact, mentioning me in a post of his on Facebook regarding my Silver Lining outro and the importance of it, because like I said, this man came up, he champions empathy, the philosophy of empathy and how important it really is, So shout out to Mr. Richardson. That was dope. Shout out to my cousin Yara. Yara, she's the one who actually not introduced me to Mr. Richardson, but she's the one who told me about Mr. Richardson. Was it Yara or Mira? Man, shout out to both of you. And that was dope. So that's how I came across Mr. Richardson. Shout out to Tyler. We're gonna hit that red carpet, don't worry. I know I made you that promise. Alright, so that's Epitome Perennial. That's Hollow Dreams. The Alpha reaches towards the Omega. Ubuntu. Hollow Dreams is getting yourself out the rut, right? Knowing thyself is championing thyself, is not conforming. Check out the quotes on hollowdreams.com. It's against conformity. It's saying be true to yourself. Gibran on Children, the poem at the very bottom of the website, is saying, parents, be the bow to which you allow your children, who are the arrows, be the steady bow to which you allow your children to propel into the world. Do not make your children like you, for they are different. They are their own beings who come through you, not from you. A lot of times we think we can own our children. You're my property, you're my child, I take care of you. You came from your mother's body, or you came from my body, blah blah blah. If it's the woman speaking, Gibran is saying, this is a piece of God, this is not a piece of you. It is a blessing for you to have such a child. It is a miracle for you to have such a child come through you. It is a joy. A child is a piece of joy, you know. Children are joy, you know. They bring joy, that's what I mean. And of course, parents, you know, the child needs the parents as well. But to see a child become restricted and conformed based upon a parent's disciplining and fear-mongering to make such child conform and adhere to their own fears and conformities upon which society has molded them into, that's a problem. That's a major problem. That's coming back to the root of many an issue in our world, on this earth. Okay. So, each project of mine is a prequel to a sequel, as you see. You see? Energy and rhythm, I'm going to get to that right now. Each project projects the journey of my inner jihad within my journey back to the one. My inner jihad being my jihad al-kabir. The know thyself jihad. Back to the one. What is the one? Epitome perennial. Thus is the omega. But in my journey, epitome perennial, the omega is the beginning as defined by my aim of vision to be encompassed upon in the end. So the omega is in fact, epitome perennial was my first project release, so you would think that would be my alpha. And it is the alpha in that I'm defining where I want to go. The starting point of any journey is you need to know what your destination is, you know? But in fact, it is the omega. You know what your destination is, that's where you want to reach. So now you have means, now you have something to aim towards, right? You know, my name used to be Saloum, S-A-1 L-O-U-M. Saloum. That used to be my name. And in fact, if you go to www.sa1oum.com, you'll see that in fact, that used to be my website. That's how I used to spell my name, you know. And I got that because S-A, those are my initials, Suleiman Alul. 1 is the one within me, the epitome perennial, the oneness of who we are. You know, the God aspect of who we are is oneness. That was the one. L-O-U-M is love. Love. Over. Under. Median. Median. So as if you can see the constructs.